Okay, so yeah, welcome back to our second day for the JavaScript. Just give me a second. I need to share my screen. So I hope you can see my screen. You will be in a minute. Okay, so here we are. Yes, welcome back to our second day, and today actually we are going to continue with our JavaScript. So we are going to learn about all the other basics. Remember, like condition statements, loops, and also some other types of data values to be exact here. Just give me 1 second. Mhm. Okay. First of all, I would like to tell you about how you can mark your attendance because that is very, very important. If you want to avail your certificate, you have to basically mark your attendance. So it's a very simple process. You just need to go over here and in the description, you are going to get this one link and it's a very like some sort of a special link here. You can just click here and it's actually going to open a page for you. Only you have to basically sign in. So obviously you need to sign in here already. And second, you already have to be enrolled. And just go down here and you will see the day two variables, data types, and just here you will see this market attendance. Just click here, and you're going to get a scale 0 to 10. How much you like this session? So let's just go with 10 here. And if you're interested in a 6 months of program, and today I'm just going to give you a refer code so by which you can basically get 7,000 rupees off on any of our courses. So for that you have to wait till the last part of today's stream. So that's why I'm very interested. And if you have any suggestion for us, so nothing for now, and submit. Okay, that's all. So this is how you can basically mark your attendance, and that's it. So if all these things are out of our way, so we can continue with our session. Shall we? I'm not able to attend the. Bitra, in that case, now what you can do, you can just watch the our previous stream. Then you can come back and you can mark your attendance. So it's not important. So you have to mark the attendance on the exact same day. If you want, you can mark your attendance after some time as well. But all you need to do is to basically watch the stream. So the knowledge part is actually in the stream. It's not in the attendance. So if everything is good, so that we can share a code here. So what we did learn yesterday that I told you about, you can write your JavaScript inside your HTML, and for that all you need to use is the script tag. And inside this script tag, you can basically write down your code, whatever code you want to write. You can write it from here. Let me just go live. And here we have our document. Let me just update it from day 1 to day 2. So first thing first, I'm just going to update it from day 1 to day 2 here. Save. Now it's updated. And second thing, I'm going to open the console. So for that, right click anywhere, inspect, and you are going to see this console. Just click here and that's it. So console is actually going to be the place where we are going to see all of our outputs. So I can write a single JavaScript line here, just like this console.log. And remember, inside this console.log, you can write any value and you're going to see that value on your console. So let me just write here, let's say hello, and it's a string type of value. So hello world, and a quick save, and I'm getting my hello world here. And yesterday we came to know about some sort of variables. So you can create a variable like this const, let's say greeting. Greeting equals to hello. And instead of using this value here, what I'm going to use this variable in the place of our variable. And the output I'm getting is the exact same. If I wanted, like I could use any emoji as well. So hello world, and I'm getting this hello world here. Okay, that's very nice of it. Now moving on. So remember one thing I told you yesterday that JavaScript is actually going to read your code from top to bottom. So it's going to read your line 19 first, then it's going to move to line number 21, like in a top to bottom manner. So if you're going to have multiple lines, let's say console.log, let's say line 2, and it is going to be a string, line 3, and let's say a number. I'm getting this output exactly in the same manner. But sometimes, the most of the times, what you want to do, you don't want to execute your complete code. You just want to execute a small part of code depending on a condition, on the basis of a condition. So it's like this. Suppose I have two lines of code here. A very simple line, console.log. Let's go with hello here. And another line of code which says bye. And depending on a condition, I just want to execute any one of them. I don't want to execute both of them. So how you can do that? So for that, let me just introduce you with a third type of value. So till now we just know about two types of values: numbers, which can be like this, and a string. A string is basically some words and some text, anything. All you have to do is to wrap those words inside a single quote or inside a double quote. So it's gonna be string. But now the third type is called as Booleans. So these are the string types, these are the number types, and then we have something called as the Boolean type. And Booleans actually look like this: true or false here. And these are very, very special type of values, true or false. So when we use these values, so for that, remember one more thing. Yesterday we were doing some sort of operations on these values. Remember, I was doing, let's say, 40 plus 24. So I'm going to get the output 64 here. So what I told you yesterday, that this plus is an operator. Yeah, remember, this plus is an operator, and it's a very special kind of operator. It's a arithmetic operator. So mathematical, arithmetic, whatever you want to call it, like plus, minus, multiply, or division. So these are all our kinds of arithmetic operator. But then we have some more type of operator, and we call them comparison operator. They look like this: 40 greater than 24. 40 greater than 24. And what is going to be your output here? Just let's take a guess. What will be the output here? And if I'm going to save it, see, the output is true. So it says that 40 is greater than 24. 40 is greater than 24. Is it true or is it false? Yep, is it like obviously 40 is greater than 24. So that's why, see, in my console, I'm getting a true here. I'm getting a true here. Similarly, we have one more, lesser than. I can do this console.log, let's say 30 lesser than, let's say 12. Yeah. So let me just now, this time you need to answer this. Like, what is the output I'm gonna get here? 30 less than 12. Is it true or is it false? Like, obviously it's false. Like 30 is obviously lesser than 12. So see, I'm getting a false here because 30 is greater than 12. So in these type of situation, so these are called the comparison operators, and they help us to compare two values. So whenever you want to compare two values or two variables or anything like that, you can use these operators. And there's one more type of operator. We call it equality operator. So instead of having this 40 or 30 directly there, I'm going to create a variable with the name of num, and inside this num, I'm just going to store 20 here. And what I will do, I'm just going to do a very simple line of code like console.log num greater than, let's say, 10. Yep. And another one, console.log num less than equals to 10. Can you guess the output here? Guess the output here in this case. What will be the output? So for the first line and for the second line. So right now I'm using a variable. Instead of directly putting values there, I'm using a variable here, num. So this num is going to be get replaced by 20, and here as well it's going to get replaced by 20. So for 20 greater than 10, true, false, exactly. So I'm going to get the output true and false. True for this one and false for this one. Okay, so these are true and false value. Let me just tell you the third one, which says if you want to check if two values are equal, for that case we use double equals to. 10. Yeah. So these are actually double equals to. You can use equals two time and you are going to get this. So num equals to 10 here. And does it I'm getting true or false here? Like obviously we are getting false here directly. Let me just make it to 20. So now you can you just guess the output? The first one says num greater than 10, second one is num lesser than 10, third and fourth with equality operator. So it's these are actually double equals to. Yeah, these are actually double equals to. Okay, true, true, false. Yep, that's great. So I'm getting this output true, false, false, true. So what's the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this? So we don't directly use them. We use them with the conjunction of another statement and we call it if. Okay, so let me just tell you some thing here. So in our previous example, I just wanted to execute any one of this line, either this line or either this line. What I'm going to do here, instead of writing them directly, I'm just going to write here a if statement, if, and after this the round brackets, and after this the curly brackets. Yeah, if, then you have to put the round brackets and then the curly brackets, and the part is like this. Like if you're going to put a true here, if you're going to put a true here, whatever code you're going to write inside of these curly brackets is actually going to get executed. So let me just put a rocket icon here. So it's like this now. If, and after this you have to use the round bracket. If you are going to have a true value here, in that case you are going to get the output like this. So whatever code you are going to write inside of these curly brackets, it's actually going to show the output. Yeah, and let me just save it here. See, I'm getting my rocket here. But if you're going to put a false here, if you're going to put a false here, in that case it's not going to execute this line. And you can have multiple lines of code, like multiple console.logs. See, I'm not getting a single one here. So let me just use Firefox instead of this. So let me just open the Firefox here. I feel like Firefox is a better browser here. So let me just write it down. Localhost 5500, enter, inspect, and our console. See, I'm not getting even a single line of code. But if I'm going to put a true here, and if I save it, see, I'm getting my 4 rockets. But obviously, you're not going to directly put this true and false. It doesn't make any sense, isn't it? So I'm just going to create a variable, let's say age, and let me just create equals to, let's say 20. And I'm going to put here condition if age is greater than 18, if the age variable, the variable that I have created, if it is greater than 18, just log out a message console.log. Let's say you are allowed to enter the club. Yeah. And see, I'm not getting the output or not. Oh, sorry. I need to put the condition like this. I'm getting the output. You are allowed to, not allowed. No, you are allowed. You are allowed to enter the club. Yeah, you can have any condition there, like you're allowed to drive, you're allowed to basically vote, anything that you want. And it's very simple condition. So this expression here is going to end up in a value true or false. It says that age is greater than 18 and the age value is 20 here. So 20 greater than 18, which is true. So this part of, like this part, is actually going to get converted to true here. And then that's why we are getting this output. And if I'm going to make it, let's say 12 here. Now, what is the output going to be like? This thing, 12. So 12 greater than 18. And this situation is false. So that's why it's not going to execute this part of your code. And if I'm going to save it, see, I'm getting nothing. But there's one more addition. I can basically provide any if a statement with a else. What is this else here? So if you're going to pass a false here, so if there's a false here in this, it's actually going to execute the else part. Okay, it's actually going to skip the if part, and it's actually going to execute your else part here. And if I'm going to save it, see, you are not allowed to enter into the club. Let me just put some emojis. Let's just have a tick mark here, and Let's just put a cross mark here so that we can clearly see it, like if it is happening. See, I'm getting my cross here, and if I make it greater than 18, I'm getting a trick here. Okay, so that's all about the if and else. Okay, so is it clear now? So these are the Boolean values. So we can get the Boolean values by using these comparison operators, and then you can use these Boolean values together with this if and else to basically write some sort of code here. And let's just take an input from a user. Let's just get some input from the user, and depending on the input, we are actually going to show some sort of message here. Okay. So let me just tell you what are tools you can use here. So first of all, to take the input from the user, we are going to use something called as prompt. Okay. So if I'm going to write this prompt here, if you write this prompt, you are actually going to get this sort of dialog box. In your website, you are going to get this sort of dialog box. Yeah. If you write a prompt here, you're going to get this sort of dialog box, and you can write a string here like this, what's your name? And if I'm going to refresh it, see, I'm getting this message here, what's your name? So all you need to type here is prompt and any string here, and you will see that string here with the input field. Now user can basically write anything, let's say Sanjay, and he or she can basically press OK. And to get that value, I'm going to save that value inside a variable. Let me just create a variable with name. Yeah. And after that, let me just log out this value, console.log name. Okay. And a quick refresh. And let's see. First of all, inspect here. Let me just open this part. Let's open our console. See, refresh here. It's asking me to enter my name, Sanjay. And if I'm going to press OK, I'm getting my Sanjay in the console panel. So how we can take input from the user? Just type prompt. After this, just write any string message that you want, and you can save the input, like save the user input inside another variable like this. So here I can save the user input, and then after that you can do whatever you want to do with that user input. And again, I'm going to get another variable age with a question, what is your age? And now I'm going to check it, like if age is greater than 18, in that case I'm going to show a message alert by using alert. So whenever you want to show us some sort of pop-up message, you can use alert here. So alert and any message, it's exactly same as console. The only difference is when you use alert, you're going to get a pop-up message. And it's like in the console, we were getting the output in the console, but when you use alert, you're actually going to get a pop-up message there. And let me just add a string here with the name Sanjay, so that we can utilize the name here as well. Okay, save it, and a quick refresh here. What's your name? Sanjay. What's your age? 22. And okay, and I'm getting you are old enough to drive, Sanjay. See, and even though it's very small, basically we can increase the size, but we will do that after that. And I'm getting a message, you are old enough to drive. Yeah, and it's actually going to ask this question every time, like let me just go with Mukesh, the age, let's say 12. I'm getting a message, you are not old enough to drive, Mukesh. Okay, so that's it all about the if and else statement. Now if it is clear, so that we can, I'm using GitHub Copilot for my auto completion. I use the GitHub Copilot. So if these things are clear, so then we can move to our next part, which are actually switch statements. Switch statements are exactly same as if, but they basically do this thing in a very different way. So, okay, shall we move to the next part? Okay, that's great. So now let me just clear this, and let us bring our console back here. So where we have our console here. So console is like a very good tool to have. It's actually going to help us to basically get the output directly. So I can directly see what I'm gonna get. So instead of updating everything on the screen, you can use it so that you can see what is the output you're going to get. One thing I just want to change here right away. So I am basically writing all of my JavaScript inside this, inside my HTML, isn't it? But this is not what I wanted. I just want to create a separate file like CSS, and I'm going to write all of my JavaScript there. So for that, I'm just going to create a new file here, and you can name this file anything. I'm just going to go with a very unique name, script.js. So mostly we just use this name, and the only thing that you have to keep in mind that it should start with .js. So the extension should be .js. So here we are doing script.js and just save this file. And I'm going to write all of my JavaScript here. So let me just write a very simple line of code. Hello.log. Hello world here. It's little slow now. Save it. Now somehow I want to connect that JavaScript file with my HTML file. Remember, like we were doing this for CSS here. Similarly, I just want to do that for my JavaScript as well. So it's very straightforward. Just write here is script. Okay, just write here is script. Okay, like simple script type. And then here what you have to do is type src. Src is our attribute here, and here you have to mention the file name, which is our script.js, and save it. That's all. So this is all you need to do if you want to basically use your JavaScript inside your, I think the spelling is script, script. Yeah. And now let me just write some content here. Let's say alert, alert, hello world. And let's see if I'm getting my alert. For that I have to refresh it. See, I'm getting my hello world here. So alert, it's actually look like this, huh? Alert. And you can basically write any message here and you're going to get that message here on your screen. Yep. And now let me just remove this and bring back our console. Okay, I don't want to get this. And again, I am just going to type. Now let's just understand about what is switch statement. For that, suppose you encounter a situation when you're going to have, let's say, a question. Okay, so there is going to be a question, 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 and question, let's say, it could be anything. What is the meaning of life? Anything. Now question can be anything in the universe and everything. So it's a very huge question. Let me just like, let's say, just go with a very simple question. What is the official name of the latest JavaScript version? Oh, yeah. So what is the official name of latest JavaScript version here? And I'm going to have some answers here. Okay. So prompt question. So, and let me just have some options here as well. So options are actually going to be like this. So let me just show the options as well. So option 1 gonna be like this, option 2, option 3, and option 4. So what I did here, so here I'm gonna have a question. Okay, here I'm gonna have a question. So this is the question, like what is the official name of latest major version of JavaScript, and these are my 4 options, and I need to show them on the screen. So we will do that now. We will do that. And suppose user is going to give some answer. So right now I'm just going to create an answer directly here. Okay, suppose the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4. So user is the one who is actually going to check for the answer here. So for now, let's just mimic, okay? Let's just sort of mimic that user actually pressed 1. Okay, just let's just do this for now. And now I want to check if the answer is correct or not. So I'm just going to write here if answer is equals to 1. Let me just drop a message. You're correct. I don't feel like it. It's yes 7. Answer is actually 4. So you are not correct. Yeah, you are not correct. Try again. Yeah, you are not correct. Try again and save it. And if if user is going to give the answer 1, so we are going to show this message else, and you can basically chain if and else continuously. So else if answer is equals to 2, Then again, I'm going to show that you are not correct. Please try again. And same thing for answer 3. You're not correct. Try again. And finally, the answer is the 4th. You are correct. If you can see here, what I'm doing, I'm using if else chain here. So if the user presses, so this thing, this variable, we are actually going to get from the user. So actually, we are going to have some sort of prompt here. Prompt, and prompt is actually going to be enter your answer. Enter your answer, something like that. Okay, so we are going to have some sort of thing here. So and user is actually going to choose any option from 1, 2, and 3, and we are going to save that thing inside of this answer variable. And that what we are doing, we are basically checking for it. If the answer is equals to 1, then this should be, I think, let me just remove 1 equal from here. Okay. So if answer, the variable, the user basically answered, if it is equals to 1, then I'm going to log it out, alert. Let me just rename this console to alert here. Alert. Yeah, alert. And save it. Yep. So let's see. But one thing you can notice here, it's a little bit difficult to understand, isn't it? Like if answer equals to 1, then alert this message. Else, yeah, else. If answer is equals to 2, then alert this message. If answer is equals to 3, then alert this message. And else, like finally, I'm just going to drop this, you're correct. Yeah. So it's very, very difficult to understand. By the way, it's gonna work, na? It's gonna work, but still we are going to face so many problems. So let me just refresh it. Enter answer 1, 2, 3. Let me just go with 2 here. So you are not correct. Try again. So I'm just going to refresh it, and answer is 4, and I'm getting you are correct. So what you can do in these type of situation, you can basically refactor it. So in these type of situation, what you can use something called a switch here. So just type here switch, and how switch is gonna work. So in switch, after this type switch, and then you're going to have these parameters, brackets here. In the brackets, you just need to provide a variable for which you want to check for the condition. Okay, equality. So switch can be only used for the equality condition. Whenever you are going to have this equal condition, in these situations only you can use the switch here. So just type switch, and then there can be multiple cases. Cases can be, let's say, if the case 1, okay, if the answer value is equals to 1, in that case, alert right, like whatever, let's just go with right here. If the case is 2, just drop the message wrong, and for the 4 wrong. So what I'm doing here is, let me just show it to you once again. So just type here switch. After the switch, you basically need to write here a variable name, the variable on which you want to check for the condition, a condition where you want to check for the equality condition. So if answer, and here we have a case, if answer is equals to, let's say 1, let me just convert it to A, B, C, D. User is going to print A, B, C, D. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 now, let me just go with A, B, C, D here. So A, B, C, or D. Okay. If this variable is equal to A, then drop the message right. If this variable answer is equal to B, this string B, drop a message wrong, and same like, so it's just going to follow this condition. And now it's very easy to understand and very easy to read. Like literally, you have some cases. If the case is A, then alert this. If case B, alert this, and so on and so forth. So let's see if it's gonna work. So for this, let's just bring our browser back here, a quick refresh, and let me just write here, let's say A. So it's showing me right, but see, I'm also getting all the wrong here. So like what happened, let me just show it to you. So instead of alert, let me just use the console.log, because console is easier to write, see here. Yeah. And instead of prompt, I'm just going to use a value directly, so that we can see what we are doing. We don't have to get the input every time. Sometimes you just want to check if our code is working fine or not. In these situations, console helps us a lot. Okay. So why we are not getting our output? Let me just open our Chrome here. Here, let me just open the Chrome. Let's just open this in Chrome, inspect console, open a console here, delete everything, and let me just bring this thing. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing. Windows is very painful to work with sometimes. Okay, let's just bring this thing here and my console here. Yeah, now I think it's much better. And suppose right now you can see that answer is A. So this condition should be true and I should get the output right there. For now, let's just go with D here. So the only condition is here like D, and this case is true. You can ignore this for now. So I'm getting this because it's actually because of some extension. You can ignore it. This is our console here. This is our console. So case D, like now my answer variable is actually equal to D here. So that's why I'm getting a wrong here. But see what is going to happen if I'm going to provide here, let's say C. So in the case of C, this case is true. This case is true. Answer is equals to C. So that's why I should get wrong here. But let's see what's going to happen. I'm getting 2 times wrong. Okay. Let me just provide the number as well. A, B, C, and E, so that we can understand this is very different. Okay, so I'm getting the wrong C and wrong D. But if you can see here, like this condition is only true. This condition is not true. So why I'm getting the output for the D as well? And let me just write here B as well. Let's see. Okay, it should be small b. Small b. I'm getting the output for the B, C, and D. And if I write here, let's say A, I'm getting for A, B, C, D. So why this is happening? So there is a little bit of problem with the switch statement, and the problem is this: like as soon as it actually finds the correct situation, the true condition. After so what it's going to do now? It's actually going to execute all the code after it. So right now in this situation, this is the correct statement. So switch is actually going to execute all these 4 lines, all these 4 lines. So that is why now if I was providing a, let's say, C here. So in the case of C, what was happening? This is our true condition. So it is actually going to execute this condition, but it is also going to execute all the line of code after it. So that's why we were getting wrong C and wrong D. So how we can fix it? The fix is very simple. All you need to write here a break. So what this break is going to do, break is actually going to stop the such a statement from executing the multiple lines of code. So see now the error is gone. Now as you can see here, answer is equal to C. So I'm just getting the C here from C. And why? Because if now such a statement try to execute each and every line after it, it's actually encounter this break here. And as soon as it sees break, it's actually skip everything and it just comes out of it. So that's so we always use break with switch. So it's very important to use break with the switch, and these type of situations are the only. Okay. Okay, so that's it about the switch. By the way, you understood this, so that we can, like, by the way, we don't use such statement very oftenly. Most of the time we use if only, na? Like these type of situations are very rare, not so much. I personally always use if, and a very special syntax of if. I use that one. Okay, Akash, I'm jealous of your setup. My VS Code. Oh, like I have been doing this work for literally 4 years now, so that's why my VS Code is so cool type, because it's my job. I have to use this VS Code day and night. So I just like to keep this thing little beautiful, so I don't get bored. That's why. Okay, yeah, you can change the themes and you can make your VS Code look like exactly same. I'm not like previously I used to use some extensions and all, which actually made my VS Code little transparent, glass like. So I used that for a while, and now right now I'm using this one. I'll just change it after some time. Okay. Now let's just move to the next part. I think that's enough for this. And let's just understand about something called as loop. and just be little bit more focused because it's gonna be little tricky to understand in the beginning. So what are loops? So suppose if you have some sort of code here, let's say console.log hello. Okay, something like this, console.log hello, and you want to execute this code, let's say multiple times. So if you want to repeat a part of code again and again, and these type of situations, you can use these loops. So obviously, if you want me to write this hello, let's say 1,000 times, I'm obviously not going to write this 1,000 times. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use a loop. And let us understand how loop works. So we have three types of loop in JavaScript: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. And if you just understand about the for loop, do and do while loop are very simple. Now while loop and do while loop are very simple. So let's just see how loops works. So loops are actually going to repeat a part of code depending on a condition. So on the basis of a condition, a loop is actually going to repeat your code. And the thing is, until and unless that condition is true, it is actually going to repeat that code again and again. So let's just see what I'm trying to say here. Before that, let me just clear one thing about the semicolons in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, you don't need to use semicolons here. So here I'm writing hello and word, and see I don't need to use the semicolons. But if you also have semicolons here and why, like you can write the semicolons, and if you want you cannot, like it's not very important. But what's the purpose of semicolon then? So like if you want to write multiple lines of statement, multiple line of code in just a single line like this, in this something like this. So now JavaScript is actually going to struggle that where this line is starting and where it's ending. So console.log, console.log, console.log. In these type of situation, first thing you can basically start each line in a from like each statement from a new line. So now the errors are gone. So now I can basically remove the semicolons. They are not important here. I'm getting my hello world by. But if you want to write everything in a single line for any reason, what you can do here, in this type of situation, you need to use the semicolons. So in these type of situations, you need to use the semicolon so that JavaScript can understand, like, okay, so this statement is starting from here and it's going to end here. This statement is starting from here and it's ending here, and similarly for this one. So this is the only use case of semicolon in JavaScript. So I hope this doubt is clear for you. So now let us see about the for loop. So be a little bit focused. Let me just tell you how we write a loop here. So suppose I just want to execute this line of code, let's say 10 times. So how I'm gonna do this? For that, just type here for, and after that we have these round brackets. After this, just have these round brackets, and then you need to have these curly brackets. So what is this curly bracket is for? So you are actually going to write your code. You are actually going to write your code that you want to execute multiple times inside these curly brackets. Yep. And now here inside this for loop, I'm going to write three statements. I'm going to write three statements, three expressions to be exact. Okay. So here I'm going to write three things here. Okay, and let me just show it to you. So in the first part, you can basically write anything, and if you want to skip it, you can skip it. But in the first part, we generally initialize a variable. So let me just initialize a variable. Let's say let I equals to 0. You can name this variable anything. For now, I am going with the variable name I. And in the second line, we can basically write true or a false here. True or a false here. So I'm not going to directly type true or false here. I'm just going to write a condition. Let's say until and unless I is less than 10. And in the third part, you can write another line of code. So for that, I'm going to write I plus 1, something like this. And now I have created my loop here. So I'm getting this hello 10 times. So this hello is getting logged 10 times. See, here it's showing that it got logged 10 times. So this is done by Chrome to basically save some space. So whenever you're going to log out same thing again and again, it's just going to show a message, the number, like this thing got logged out 10 times. It's not actually going to show the console.log 10 times. Now let's just understand why we have written this for loop like this. What's the purpose of writing this like? So the fun part is, so first let's just understand how this loop was working. So whatever thing you're going to write in the first part is actually going to be executed before the loop. So before the starting of loop, this line will get executed. Okay, JavaScript is actually going to read this line first. Then it's actually going to move to the second part here. Yeah, the second part. And JavaScript is actually going to look for a true or a false here. So if you are going to have a true here, in that situation, JavaScript will actually execute this code, the code that you have provided here. So if you are going to have a true here, it is actually going to get inside the loop and it's actually going to execute the code. And after executing the complete code here, it will jump to the third part. So whatever code you are going to write here, it's just going to get read by JavaScript after execution of this block. Yep. So the flow is like this. First, JavaScript will see this part, then it will move to the second part, and it is actually going to check for a true or a false here. If you are going to have a true here, in that case, it will jump inside and it will execute your code. And then it will move to the third part. And then it will again move to the second part and it will again check for the true and false. And if you're going to have a true, so in that case, it will again come inside your block and it will execute your code. And the cycle repeats itself until and unless you're going to have a false here. So now see what I have written here. So in the first line, I'm declaring a variable. And then in the second part, I'm checking some condition. If I is less than 10. So let me just make it less than 3 here. So it's gonna be a little small here. Let me just make it 3. Now see what is happening. So in the first part, I'm creating a variable I with the value of 0. Yep. And it is then moving to the second part. In the second part, I'm checking if I is less than 3 or not. So right now the value of I is 0. So 0 less than 3. It's true. It is true. So it is actually going to execute your code. It is actually going to execute your code. Then it will move to the third part. The third part says make the value of I. So I equals to I plus 1. So I equals to I. So what was the previous value of I? 0. 0 plus 1. So now the new value of I is 1 here. So what I'm doing here, I'm just changing the value of I. I'm increasing the value of variable I by 1. So now the value of I is 1 here. Okay. And then it's going to back to the second part and it will again check for the condition. So here the condition is I less than 3. So right now the value of I is 1. 1 less than 3. It is true. So it's again going to execute your code. So this code will get executed one more time. And again it will go to the third part, sorry, here. And here I'm just incrementing the value of I one more time. So now the value of I is 2 here. It will again check for the condition. And the condition says 2 less than 3, which is true obviously. So it will again execute your code. And for the last part, it will move to the third part one more time. And again I'm incrementing the value. So now the value of I is 3. And again it will check for the condition. This says I less than 3. So is 3 less than 3? Is 3 less than 3? No, 3 is not less than 3. 3 is equals to 3. 3 is not less than 3. So I'm going to get a false here. I'm going to get a false here. And as soon as you encounter a false, it will basically come out of the loop. So this is how a for loop works in JavaScript. So yeah, it may seems little difficult in the beginning, but it's very straightforward. It's just gonna check for the condition every time before executing the loop. So here, like I can do now, if I can basically write here directly false. See man, loop is not even going to execute even a single time because I'm directly providing a false here. So no matter what you do, like it's always a false. So it's not going to get execute this line of code. And let me just write here I. Okay. And instead, if I just write here true, If I'm going to write a true here, in that case, this loop will is actually going to execute forever, because forever you're having a true here. So your loop will fall into an infinite loop. Why? Because every time you're getting a true here. So this loop will execute like forever. And I'm not going to do that because it will basically freeze my laptop. So I'm just going to write a false here. Okay, so let us write some sort of condition here. Okay, let's say 5. And I'm getting this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here in this part, we do some sort of incrementation or changing or something like that. And here we do the initialization. And as I told you, writing these things are not very important. If you want, you can skip this thing. But you need to initialize a variable. Now. Like if you want, you can basically leave this first part blank. The only thing is, whatever line of code you're going to write in this part will be executed first. So before the loop. Before the loop. So you can write anything in the first part. The thing is, it will just get executed before the loop. But right now, then you have to basically declare this variable. Huh? You don't have this variable I here. So in that case, I'll just declare this variable outside of it. And see, and the output I'm getting before the loop. So let me just remove it. See, I'm getting this before the loop. So you can write literally here whatever you want. But generally, we just declare some sort of variable. Otherwise, we have to declare that variable outside of this for loop. So this is the purpose of this first part. Okay, this is the purpose of this first part. The second and the third part is very important. The second, because in the second part, if you're going to have a true, in that situation only, it will execute your code. Otherwise, not. And the third part is very simple. After every time the execution of your code, it will come to the third part to do whatever it wants. Now, so I can basically write anything here. So after the loop, yeah, so I can do that. In that case, I have to do this incrementation here. Right? I can write this statement here. Okay, so this first and the last part is not important. The first and the third part before the loop here. Okay, so this first part and the last part is not important. The only the second part is. So only the second part is. If you just need to write a true or false here. So why we use the third part here? So we actually need to do some sort of changes now. Otherwise, it doesn't gonna make sense. So if I can show it to you, see, let me refresh it. See, before the loop, then it did the console log I, then after the loop, after the loop, after the loop, after the loop. But you can just go with a very simple statement here. Like this is how you write the loop. Okay, this is how you write the loop. So by the way, that's the most difficult, not visible clearly. Yeah, no, don't worry, na. We are already ahead of the syllabus, so I'm just going to recap all this. So don't worry about that. For the autocomplete, I am using GitHub Copilot, so it do all the things for me. So let me just tell you about this for loop one more time. So in this loop, you just need to declare a variable here. Then you need to write a condition here, some sort of condition here. If the condition is true, it will execute your code. If the condition is false, the loop will end. And if you find a true here, if your loops finds out a true here, it is actually going to move to the third segment, this third segment, and whatever you wanna write. So mostly we do the incrementation of the variable or the decrementation of the variable. So if here I am changing the value of I. I'm changing the value of I. So previously I was 0, and then I'm doing I equals to I plus 1, which says I equals to 0 plus 1. Now the new value of I is 1. For the second time, I equals to again I plus 1, but this time the value of I is 1 here. Okay, so now the 2, and it goes on. Okay, so this is how we create the loops and all. And the while loop and the do while loop are very straightforward. It's just gonna take 2 minutes. So it's going to do the same thing, but with a different syntax. I'm using GitHub Copilot for yeah, it's a paid extension. So this one, I'm using this Copilot here. Okay, and before moving to the next part, let me just tell you about how you can avail 7,000 rupees off on any of our courses. So in the description, you will see this link here. You can get a gift card of 7,000 rupees. Just click here. Just click here and refer 20, and you will see this page here. First of all, you already have to log in. And the thing is like this. You can use the coupon code refer 20 to get 20% off or 7,000 rupees off on any of our courses, any of our full stack courses. And also you can do what you can do, just generate a link from here. So just click on this, okay, and you are actually going to get a link, a refer link, and all you need to do is to share this link with your friends, with your family, whoever wants to avail this course, whatever you feel like if you have a friend or a brother who want to become an IT professional, you can share the link with them. And for every refer, you're going to get the prize money. And let for one subscript for one reference, you will get 2,000. And for the 8 subscription, if you share this link with the 8 people, you're going to get the rupees 80,000 or a MacBook. Here, so depending on what you want, na, either you can get a MacBook here or you can get the 80,000 rupees. All you need to do is to copy the refer link from here, and you can share the links. You can just share this link with anybody. So you will get this link here, and they can basically log in it from here. So these are the links. Okay. So these are the links for the data science, and this one is the link for our web development. So just copy this link and share it with your buddy, with your friend members, and that's all. And if they enroll with your invitation link, you're going to get prize money for every refer, every successful refer. So for 8 successful refer, you're going to get 80,000 or a MacBook Air. And by the way, and on the addition of that, you can use the refer 20 coupon code to directly get 7,000 rupees off on any of our courses. And I don't know how long this offer is gonna be there. So like I think we're just gonna have for this month or for a week or something like that. So just avail this offer right now. It's the best time to get enrolled because all of our courses are like job ready. So if you want to land a job, if you want to become a software developer, it doesn't matter if you're from a school, college, or if you're a working professional and you want to switch your job, you can just go over here, use our coupon code refer 20 to get 7,000 rupees off, and then you can use our referral links. So these links, so you're going to have the 2 links for view for the future dev and full stack development as a data science. Just copy this link, share with your buddies, and for every successful refer, you are going to avail the offers here. Okay. So by the way, these are the courses. In these courses, we basically create projects. So every study is on the project basis, and the duration of the course is 6 months. And after the 6 months, we will help you to get the interviews, how you can crack the interviews. We are going to prepare you for the interviews as well. We are going to arrange the interviews for you with our partner companies. So don't worry about that. Like we are going to take care of everything. So if you're interested, it's a very good time to avail this offer. Yep. Any lesson for the like that's for that? I think what's your name? Takashima. So we have future dev subscription. So you can also avail that. So in the future dev subscription, we take up the all the advanced concept. So I think it's no more now. Okay, I think don't feel like it's okay. So we have closed that one. So like closures comes inside the advanced JavaScript. So for that you can enroll to our courses. Right now our courses are at the lowest price right now. Yeah, it's paid or free. It's paid, but it's just gonna offer you so much of worth of money, of success. So don't think about that. Right now the courses price are less than like 20,000. I think just tried once now. Courses prices are very cheap now, and I don't know how long it's gonna like be like this. So use our refer link to win the prizes, and also use the coupon code refer 20. You are going to find everything here in the description. In the description you will see this refer link here, like this one. Or like if you're feeling any doubts, if you're not sure about this, you can just open our one link and you can talk with us on our WhatsApp. Just click here, you can have a conversation with us. We are going to tell you how you can update the codes and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I think that's it for the day two. In the day three, we are going to learn about the functions. So functions are very, very important in JavaScript. So don't forget to join our tomorrow session. And in the tomorrow session, I'll tell you how you can update the UI, how you can change the UI, how you can basically update this thing. I mean this. So you can basically modify your HTML with your JavaScript depending what user is typing or what user is doing. So depending on that, we are going to update our UI, and I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to join tomorrow's session because tomorrow is like one of the most important session. And our day 5, we are going to create a game. So it's going to be very much fun. Yeah. So bye bye and take care.